Don't mind me. I'm just getting a few selfies for social media.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So Sydney, Australia has a few different metro lines being built right now. Absolutely fantastic news. But for this video, we're going to be checking out the Sydney Metro West line, more specifically the Bays Station and Piermont Station right here. Literally walking underneath the water. Very, very cool. So once again, the Bays Metro, we're going to be walking from there to Piermont Return. Basically underneath the freshly built tunnel boring machine tunnels, right? Let's check this out. Giving you guys a reference as to whereabouts we are right now. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is in front of us, as well as the Anzac Bridge, just to the right. But if you look in the middle between the two bridges, that's where our station is, right there. I bet you guys didn't know that I was actually a big fan of metro tunnels and metro in general. They've given us this for free. But yeah, I am here at the Bays, here in Sydney, Australia, where they are building a brand spanking new metro from Westmead to Parramatta all the way to Sydney, right? All of this is a massive work site still right now. So we're going to be going down this elevator shaft, walking through the recently tunnel boring machined tunnels all the way to the next station, which I think is actually Piermont. So this is going to be a really, really interesting adventure. I've always wanted to do something like this, so come along for a ride with me as we walk. No trains yet. For someone like me, I need to be very, very careful when I come to these construction sites, right? It's meant for short people, let me put it that way. This is pretty sick. Oh, I just realized there's Sheriff. Hey Sheriff, how's it going? Good to see you, mate. How are you? Nice to meet you. Wow, this is amazing. Here we go. We are actually standing pretty much on the railway tracks. Obviously they're not here at the moment, right? But this is obviously where they will be at some point. Look at this. It's almost like a cathedral. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. This is going to be a seriously iconic shot in the next like 5 years when this is all operational, right? And just up there is the White Bay Power Station. And of course, once the platforms are all fully built out, you'll never see that shot again. So just in case they never gave us any hearing protection upstairs, we've got it here. But I think I'm just going to suss it out and see how loud it is. If it is very loud, I'll put some hearing protection in, but at the moment, I'm going to leave them out. So I'm pretty much standing on platform 1 and 2 right now. Insane, right? Amazing. And you can see just how long these platforms will be eventually. That's the other side of the tunnels, right? This is the tunnels going towards Western Sydney, Parramatta, Westmead. Very, very cool. But anyway, look, we are going inside. Let's do it. Just imagine a train whizzing through here at 100 kilometers an hour eventually. Unbelievable. So you see these individual jigsaw puzzle pieces, as you could call them, right? Well, apparently 6 segments make a concrete ring, and more than 16,000 concrete precast segments were produced, and 2.3 kilometers of TBM tunnels from the Bays to Hunter Street. Amazing. And just up ahead, we've got some serious fan action going on. Pumping the fresh air in here, right? I don't know, there's just something really spooky and very, very cool about walking through these tunnels. And we've got a bit of a legend right here. We've got Paul Thomas. Mr. Paul Thomas. Mr. Paul Thomas. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hello, Gareth's become the cameraman for a moment. This is a cross passage. This will be used in the case of emergency. So if a train failed, say, on the westbound line, then passengers could be detrained, taken through here, and put onto a train on the eastbound line. So they're about every 150 to 200 meters in the tunnel, so there's quite a few of them. I want to talk to you. So we're in a cross passage.
Yes.
An essential part. What's your experience been so far of being in the tunnel, being in a cross passage, just doing something that maybe we only get to do once in a lifetime?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right about the once in a lifetime situation.
Yeah.
To be in this situation right now with no train tracks whatsoever, this is truly a once in a lifetime. And I feel like a little kid in a candy shop right now, just so excited that knowing in just 5 years or so, roughly, there'll be trains passing through here, 100 kilometers an hour. I mean, this is amazing. So yeah, how do you feel about it?
Great. I'm just thinking, what can I do in a cross passage? Push-ups, meditation, yoga pose. What do they say? Namaste.
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 Yin and yang.
What a legend. What an absolute legend. I love it. Just in case you guys wanted to build your own metro tunnel in your back garden, there you go. That's how you mix these tunnels with the proper concrete mix, right? So eventually there will be a door on this, a fire door to stop the smoke, potential smoke from entering another tunnel, right? Obviously this is all in place for safety reasons, just in case that there's some sort of smoke or fire or something like that, right? Where the people can then be safely transferred to one tunnel from the other, right? But unfortunately there's no access at the moment to the other one. All right, so we just talked to this legend. We might be allowed in here very, very quickly. There we go. We are now in tunnel 2. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I honestly didn't expect to be able to walk in both of these tunnels today, but the fact that I'm able to do it, right? I mean, this is amazing. Look at this. So there's the emergency exit path that we just came from, right? And there is the tunnel box right there where we came from. And we're just continuing our little adventure down this tunnel. As you guys can see, we've got a bit of a green segment here. I need to ask someone what that is all about. And I think what it might actually be is a representation of a safe area, right? An area where you can get some sort of medical help, such as eye wash. So there you go. And this is the next emergency exit segment. Now the interesting thing about these segments is that when the tunnel boring machine is coming along here, it produces all these little segments absolutely everywhere, including this area, right? So in order for them to start making this area like in between two tunnels, right, they actually need to break apart the concrete segments that they've already laid, once it's already laid, to then smash through to the other. So yeah, the tunnel boring machine isn't actually skipping tunnel segments here, it is actually putting them there, and then after the fact they then have to get rid of them afterwards, right? And of course this is the tunnel that we were just ever so slightly in, right? I just love this, right? These kids are just doing cartwheels here. In 5 years or so, this will just be a no-go zone, right? Speeding trains taking people to and from work every day. And if you guys just look up ahead, there's actually a bit of a bend, right? Let's have a look. So it is pretty gradual, but yes, there is a bend coming up ahead. And I don't know why I find that fascinating, but I do. But this is our third emergency exit. And it is also apparently the halfway point. And this absolute legend right here has just given me some amazing information, so thank you, sir. This is actually the low point in this tunnel. So let's just turn the camera around again and let's see where we are. See, you can actually see how we are now going up, and we're also going up from the other direction as well, right? So because we are underneath Johnson's Bay, we are underneath the water right now, right? There will be seepage every now and then, and because this is the lowest point, they've got like a drainage pit right here with pumps that will be able to pump out the water, right? And that's pretty much what the water pit looks like. And there's quite a bit of water in there, as you can see at the moment. There you go.
So because we are underneath the water right now, Sydney Harbour, roughly Sydney Harbour, right? There's bound to be a few leaks here and there. So they are drilling into the concrete walls every now and then and pumping some slurry solution to basically stop this from happening as much as they can, right? But basically they cannot stop 100% of the leaks. That's why I have a low pit at the lowest point. It makes sense, right? Gravity. And as we start to walk uphill a lot more now, if you squint your eyes a little bit, you can see what looks like QR codes on the wall, right? So I'm pretty sure the tunnel boring machines scan these QR codes for each segment, right? And you would think that they can just use any segment for any area they want, but apparently not. These segments are built specifically for each area where they will be put. So it's basically a jigsaw puzzle, right? It's all been put in the correct situation. So you can see a bit of a leak here, right? So eventually they need to add more grout. They need to basically mix up a lot of grout right here and then pump it in, right, with the pumps to really put an end to this leaking as best as possible, right? Because they don't want this to happen at all, but obviously they cannot stop 100% of the leaks. You know, I may be walking on the bed of where the tracks will be, but the thing is though, the tracks will eventually be up a little bit higher again, right? Have a look at this. So they intend to raise the track up a little bit higher, and the guy reckons that the concrete will reach roughly those levels right there. Won't be much higher than that, right? You can actually see a bit of water in there. You guys see that? Don't mind me, I'm just doing the white glove treatment. It's not up to my standards, boys. What's going on? Liquid Metal Man and Terminator 2. Call to John. It's not up to my standards. We are very much going uphill right now on a significant curve, grade. And you can imagine that when these trains are going up and down these tunnels, there probably will be screeching on the wheels, right? The wheels are up against the metal track. There will be some screeching in this area. Not much further now, not much further at all. So apparently they have used over 25,000 square meters of concrete to create the segments for these tunnels. And that could apparently fill up 10 Olympic-sized pools. But we are pretty much very, very close to the station right now. Come on, let's go. This is very, very cool. The boys and the girls that are building these infrastructure projects, my God, they're doing a fantastic job, right? So we're obviously slowly walking out of the boring hole right now. It's very boring. Gosh, I'm so bored right now. It's an Elon Musk joke, right? The boring tunnel, anyway. Oh, look at this. We've got some toilets if anyone's interested. But there you go. Fascinating. Wow. So I was just talking to an amazing guy named Jacob, and he was telling me a lot of interesting information about all of this, right? So the amazing thing is that this whole area, which I thought was actually the station at first, is not the station. This is actually where the crisscrossing of tracks will be, right? For trains needing to get to one side of the track or the other, right? So this is pretty much just the cavern for the crisscrossing of the tracks, which is huge, right? So before they installed the blue plastic, they ended up using shotcrete to spray on the walls, right? And then of course they put the plastic over. But eventually there will be like a squared roof over here, kind of like that. And there'll be areas where they have like air conditioning and electricity cables up above kind of thing. But this massive apparatus here is how they actually put concrete up against all of this area. Let me show you what's going on. So as you can see, these arms are pressed up against here, as well as here. They're pressed up against the wall, so then they can actually do concrete behind these arms and concrete up here. And once it's all set, it takes about a week for it to set and for them to actually bring this to here to do it all over again. So they can do it about once a week, but they're hoping to do it apparently twice a week now from this point onwards to go further down, right? But if you're wondering how they actually move a giant structure like this, hey, take a look at this right here. So these might actually be the very first railway tracks in this cavern, right? And as you can see, the wheels are on these tracks. One there and one here. Well, technically two on the left and two on the right, right? And then it's just a matter of them building these tracks further down so they can then take this massive structure to the next location, right? And this is almost like slip forming, right? Where they're able to continue the concrete on and on and on for as far as they need. And that's where they need to go. But this is pretty much where the station box is right here. And look at that. Oh my God, I just saw it right now. So this right here is actually going to be a control room for this particular station, right? Utilities and that kind of stuff, right? It's amazing to think that this infrastructure right here looks like passengers would be able to go through it at some point, but no, I mean, this is just for the utilities. So pretty much this area where it's all exposed, this is pretty much where the platforms are going to start roughly in this area. So it's going to be very interesting when this is all fitted out, right? But apparently these service tunnels will not be visible from the platform once they're in place. I mean, you have to imagine, right, all of these structural engineers that have gone into planning this situation, right? This one particular brand new Western Sydney metro line, right? Like all the planning that would have had to have been done, all the reviews, all the, you know, CAD drawings on the computer, right? Obviously all of this has been done digitally, but back, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago plus, right? It all would have been done on paper, which, I mean, is what they did. That's what they did back in the day, right? And it worked. It worked for generations, for decades, and for hundreds of years perhaps, right? Drawings on pieces of paper is how they did it, and it worked. But obviously we live in the modern age where, you know, AI, computer systems, right? Everything is online right now. Everything is in the cloud. So any one of these structural engineers can pretty much get this information from anywhere they are, wherever they are in the world, right? So you have to imagine, right, there's obviously going to be a lot of changes, a lot of iterations in these drawings. So they're able to update these files in real time on the computers. And then anybody with an iPad and a connection can basically see what's going on, see what changes need to be done, and then make those changes in real time, right? Which is awesome. Don't know about you guys, but it's getting a little bit warm in here. But that reminds me, I wonder whereabouts this was actually shot. Obviously it's not in the cavern where we are, but as you can see, it's in one of the tunnels, right? Well, I think we're gonna end this video on a hyperlapse, which is basically a time lapse, but going forwards really, really quickly, all the way through the tunnel, from here, the crossover and the station of Piermont, all the way to the bays, right? If you guys have liked this video so far, do give us a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. And let's do one last little cool thing. Let's do this hyperlapse. 3, 2, 1.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And I'll hopefully see you for the next one. Peace.